can't believe it was just $25. The shield worked out fantastically well, and the picture quality was really, really good. In fact, out of the 3 monitors I was using, ironically, I landed with this one. So the cheapest one out of the 3 is the one which I used to land my model with. I thought that was quite bemusing, and I was looking forward to sharing that fact with you. Howdy, I'm Matt, and in this episode we are going to be looking at an ultra cheap FPV screen which I bought from Banggood. Now, just want to put this into context. I've been and ordered a collection of different screens from Banggood, literally ranging from this one, which is the cheapest, at $24. Let me check my phone. It was an absolute joke of a price. Yes, grand total was $25.34. That's what I paid for this little screen, and I have bought a much more expensive FPV screen at $90, and also I spoke to Banggood and they're sending me the latest Ishin monopole screen as well, so we'll be doing a shootout between these different screens and the screen which I'm using at the moment in the very near future. Anyway, this video is not about those just yet because we've still got a couple to arrive. Instead, we're going to take a first look at this little super cheap FPV screen. So we must keep in the back of our minds it costs $25, so we will be a little bit more lenient on this one as far as refresh, etc, and screen size and things like that, because we've got to remember it only costs £20. So this is one of those perfect little screens which you could potentially just throw in your rucksack and have as a backup screen. So first impressions, we've got an instruction manual in there which is giving us some basic details. I think that is actually meant for a different screen. There we go. If we turn it around, we were looking at it's like dual instructions for something else. So we've got charging on, off, or no off. You've got to Google, haven't you? There's always a good spelling mistake in there. That's quite funny. It's 48 band, 6 band frequency, so it does cover the lot. We are dealing with a 4.3 inch screen. The resolution is not fantastic at 480 by 270 pixels, and the screen resolution is 16:9, which is what I like. I can't knock the screen resolution, I can't knock the screen size because it only costs $25. Absolute bargain. Now, I like that it's been included with a dipole antenna. Those of you which may be using circular polarized, those of you which are maybe not flying behind trees or hedges and things like that, I would actually urge you to try a dipole because they do work out fantastically well, and also it's really handy for us here on the bench for us to just use it here and for you just to get it working straight away. So with that said, let's get that connected and take a first look. So right, we have on and off on the left hand side. We've got a charge port, which I'm guessing this is what that USB lead is for. We have a panel here on the back with a 1S LiPo battery. Oh, and it does have a connector in there as well. In fact, there's me getting all excited. Let's zoom in so that you can see what's going on. So that is a 600 milliamp battery which has been included, and it has the little, I just know them as being 1S battery connectors in there. And if I unplug that, it's just one of those little spade connectors, and I'm really happy that they've been included a battery like this because I have lots of other little 1S battery packs which I could potentially use as a backup for this screen if this was my main screen which I was using. Looking on the back of here, we've got a button on the back to change the channel. Now, how do we get in the screen? Oh, there's a little finger click up in here. Whoa, hello. Okay, first impressions, that was really nice. I really look how big that shield is. The sun shield on it is absolutely fantastic. I'm just going to grab a different one here for a moment, and that's some Ishin goggles. I believe they're EV800Ds because they've got diversity and DVR recording on them. I've got a separate video on this one. I'll put a link to that in the video description. Anyway, my point which I was trying to make with the other one just there in the picture is that it's really nice to have this cover on here. And the reason why I'm saying it's really nice is because today here in the United Kingdom, Birmingham. It is one of the hottest days in August there has ever been, I think in 17 years, and it is super, super bright out there, and having this shield around the outside does mean that we'll be able to focus upon the screen, and it does mean we'll be able to see what on earth is going on with the aircraft as it's in the sky. So that said, let's turn it on. Fantastic, and I will move these parts out of the way and we'll scroll in and we'll have a go at changing the channels as well. So let me zoom in so you can see what I'm seeing. We've got some white lines in there, so it tells us that we're on channel 11, 12. I'm just going to press the button. I do have a transmitter in here at the moment, and it is broadcasting, but it's just working through the channels. I wonder if it's got an auto search. I'm just going to hold my finger on the button. Ah, way, there we go. Hello. Right. This is literally the first time I've seen a picture on here. I've only seen snow. Gotta be honest with you, I did have a little sneaky look in the box just to see what was going on. Right. First impressions. That screen quality is absolutely fantastic. Now, the model which I have in here, on here at the moment, is actually in fail-safe mode, and is actually the Dart 250G, and you can actually see my main editing station over there on the left, and the girls' gaming computers and whatnot. So, yeah, first impressions. Remember, this screen costs $25. I think that's crazy. Oh, and the artifacts which you just saw on your screen, you might be able to see some lines in there. That's to do with the way the refresh frequency is on the screen to the camera, and I am not seeing those in there. So if you see some funny lines, that's not actually happening in real life. I'm seeing a straight picture in there. So I tell you what, let me just go and pop that there a moment. I'll go and grab the model which is on the side, because it's all fine and dandy seeing one thing on a screen, but how's the refresh rate? So let me put this into perspective. Let me zoom out a touch. So there's the model which is transmitted right now, and I'm here just moving it around. The refresh rate is brilliant. It's absolutely fine. I am seeing, yeah, it might be to do with the camera, to be perfectly honest, and you can see that for toffee, can you? I'll tell you what, let me put this on the desk. Let me get you zoomed right in, like so. And we've got to remember, I do have should I turn the really big bright light out the way? Yeah. Just for absolute clarity, can you see, I can see on my monitor, which is up there, there are diagonal lines. In real life, that's not on that screen. I am seeing a perfect picture, and you can see me tilting that up so I can see in there. I'm seeing a perfect picture in there and not seeing that artifact, and that's just to do with the relationship between the cameras and being different frequencies. So the bit which I was a little bit concerned about, because this screen was so cheap, I thought the refresh rate was going to be rubbish, but no, I can't tell the refresh rate on there at all. And again, if this model was, imagine this model bouncing around in the sky, yeah, I'm liking the look of this. That was $25, that is a joke. Right, let's pull out and I'll put the main light back on. And yeah, it is very orange, but then orange is like the worst colour for us to be doing on the camera, and it probably doesn't help with the camera which I'm using in there. Right, first impressions, it is absolutely dinky. I could put that away. Shouldn't really undo the antenna, but if you look at the size of my hand, I'll put the actual dimensions up on the screen. It is approximately 10 centimeters by 23 centimeters. I'll put Imperial up on the screen as well. It's just a couple of inches big, and we'll pop that out. I'm sure there's a better way of doing that. But yeah, first impressions. Remember, I paid $25 for this, and my first impressions are really good. I can't wait to see how this does out in really bright sunshine. Although, and the model's I'm gonna turn the model off here on the side. There we go. In really bright sunshine, I think it's going to be fine, and the reason why I think it's going to be absolutely fine is because look at the size of the cover on this. The cover is absolutely massive. So on using the resolution on my desk, that's 50 millimeters, so 60, 70, 80, so 8 centimeters, we'll say 3 and a bit, 4 inches deep on there. So that is a massive, great big sunshine, sunshade. One thing which we'll need to do is work out a mounting mechanism for this. The one thing which I can say, and I'm not gonna beat it up because my answer to this is gonna be it was $25, is the one thing which I would say is that we don't actually have a mounting point which would go on a standard camera mount. So all I'm going to do is stick some Velcro on the back and then Velcro it to one of the stands. And I know that's really simple and that might be a little bit crude, but I don't think we can go wrong with something like that. And I'm not going to hold it against, I'm not going to hold that against the screen because realistically, $25, I think that was fantastic value for money. And what I just saw there on the screen, I think is going to be perfectly fine to fly FPV with. So I'll tell you what I'm going to go and do. I've got another screen for me to look at in a few moments, and remember I mentioned that shootout right at the beginning, is that what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop this one up on the stand and I'm going to go out and take a flight. I'm going to get a little bit of footage for you outside in bright sunshine and we'll see how it does. And I think it's going to be absolutely fine. The battery is telling me we've got 3 green bars. You might just be able to make it out there, and also down here at the bottom, which you probably cannot read, and I'm having problems reading, is the channel which we're on as well. So you can see which channel you're on frequency wise, and we do get a battery indicator as well. So first impressions are very, very good. You can obviously make your own impressions with this one. I think, to be perfectly honest, for $25 for something which, it's not a big screen. I knew that when I purchased it, it was only going to be a little 4.3 inch screen. I was a little bit worried about the quality of the screen itself, but literally, if I power that model back on again and we take it, yeah, absolutely fine. This is going to be ace. So anyway, that's enough chat here at the desk. Let's go out onto the flight line and take a look at this screen actually being used in real life. But right now, thumbs up. And remember, if you're seeing any artifacting on the screen, I just want to stress that's because the screen is being recorded by another camera and they're different frequency when you're picking it up. Here in real life, it is basically a mini TV screen. It really is. So anyway, enough chat, flight line. Let's see how it does in bright sunshine. So I've been and come across to the farm. You'll notice that I've got 3 different screens here. In this video we are taking a look at this tiny $25 screen. Now I will be comparing it to the screen which I'm used to using, which is the EV800Ds, which are actually diversity goggles, and that's the screen which I've been using. If we take a look, and I know I haven't got any recorded ink on them at the moment, screen wise that one is slightly smaller, but those were infinitely more expensive, although they do have diversity and DVR recording. This one, we've got to cut it some slack because it was only $25. With that said, let's get a model in the sky and take a look to see how they work out. So this tiny little screen, I can't believe it's only $25. Now I have noticed that it does flicker every now and again, and I'm not going to hold that against this screen just because I'm using a dipole, and the screen which I'm comparing it to here, it's got a diversity module on there. It is not as sharp as the other screen, although I can't believe it was just $25. And now you're probably getting a little bit of reflection here off the screen. Like I said, this is one of the brightest days, hottest days here in the United Kingdom. There has been in August, and it's super bright. And this tiny little sunshade on the top is doing an absolutely brilliant job because the sun really is beating down upon us right now. It is. That's why I'm in the shade and those are in the sun, put it that way. So yeah, we're just on a waypoint mission at the moment. It's just up above me in a field, and it is doing absolutely fantastically well. So field use right now. So this little screen is doing absolutely fantastically well. This camera which I'm recording on is not doing it justice. It's not as good as what $90 was, but for $25, this is perfectly usable. And I can foresee me keeping this one in the flight bag just as a backup, let alone probably using it as a main screen for the lads, to just give it to the lads so that they can see what's going on and we're not all crowding around just a single screen. So yeah, impressions really, really good. It is so bright out here today. I can't stress
how bright it is, and it's doing super well. So yeah, first impressions, really good, and this camera is not doing this screen any justice at all.
What can I say? Well, no, I tell you what I'm going to say. I'm going to say $25 well spent. It doesn't have any big bells and whistles like other screens which I've got here. It doesn't have DVR, it doesn't have diversity, but the screen resolution is absolutely fantastic, and it does exactly as it said on the tin. Up there on the farm when we were flying, super bright sunshine. I was literally cowering in the shade. It was that bright out there and so hot. The shield worked out fantastically well, and the picture quality was really good. In fact, out of the 3 monitors I was using, ironically, I landed with this one. So the cheapest one out of the 3 is the one which I used to land my model with. I thought that was quite bemusing, and I was looking forward to sharing that fact with you. So yeah, first impressions on this $25 screen. Yes, I needed to put a bit of Velcro on the back so I could stick it onto a stand. I'm not going to beat it up. I'm not going to be mean to it. I think this is one of those cool little devices which was so inexpensive. I could literally just throw it in my flight bag, and it's going to be great for those times when the kids are flying with me. Something portable. The wife can sit there and watch watch the flight if she's over there with me. Or yeah, I just think it's one of those inexpensive tools which you can keep charged up in the back of your flight bag, and it's there for when you need it. As for a dedicated FPV screen, if this was my only screen, I would definitely be swapping the antenna either for a Clover, or if I go and grab my other antenna, because I think that's realistically what I would be using, is off the goggles. Now this is a Onway diamond antenna. I will put a link to this in the video description. It is directional, it is linear polarized, although it works perfectly fine if you've got a clover leaf on your transmitter. And I've got the wrong connector on there. So this connector in here is an RP SMA. So in other words, you want the antenna to not have a pin inside. So these are RP MSAs. Actually, that's an SMA one, and you can buy these with RP SMA connectors on the bottom. In fact, their cable will typically be red instead. Anyway, I've gone off topic. Well, no, I've not gone off topic. Realistically, if this is the screen which I was using to fly FPV with, $25, if I stood on it, I wouldn't cry. Let's be brutally honest here. I would use a directional antenna to get the best feedback as possible, best view of the model, and I would pay the extra for an antenna like that, which in reality, that antenna is probably like 2/3 the cost of this screen. I think that's absolutely crazy. I like the covers on there. The covers really did perform really quite well just because it was so bright out. It was absolutely sweltering hot, stupidly bright, and I could see the screen perfectly. I probably would adapt the charger so that I would charge this with a BEC for 5 volts. I would assume that's a 5 volt input there to keep this charged. And again, if that's any different, I'll put the links to this item over on Bankview in the video description. But yeah, first impressions, and now after first uses, literally flicks open. I thought that was pretty cool, and for $25, fantastic value for money. Howdy, I'm just adding this extra bit in because I think it's really important. I've just taken the 4 screws out the back of the FPV screen, and there's 2 points which I need to share with you because it's exactly what I'm going to do to my screen right here. The first one is that I'm going to pop a little bit of double-sided tape on the back of this battery to hold it in place in here so it's not flapping around. Also, just from my previous experience with battery connectors, I don't think this is going to be an issue, but I would feel bad if I didn't share it with you, is that this battery connector, can you see how flexible it is there with those two pins, is that what I would strongly suggest that you do, and this is exactly what I'm going to go and do on mine, is just put a little dab of hot glue either side of the battery connector and maybe down here as well, just to hold this battery connector in place, because I do feel that over time, if this battery was flapping around in here, or maybe you were swapping out the battery to another one multiple times, this would fatigue and get damaged over time. Unfortunately, that's what I actually experienced on my FR Sky Tyrannus, just from overuse. So that's two tiny things which will take less than 2 minutes, or the time it takes for the hot glue gun to get hot. Bit of double-sided tape on the battery to hold it in place, and number two, just a little bit of hot glue on there. Besides that, really genuinely impressed with what I've been and received. So yeah, this one's definitely going in the flight bag to be used and abused by the many. Anyway, let's get back to the main video. I felt that had value. I hope you appreciate that. So with that said, I will put a link to this little FPV screen in the video description for you. If you use that link, you will be supporting this channel. Remember, that's something which I like to be 100% transparent about. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know in the comments section underneath this video here on YouTube. And of course, if you're new here, howdy, I'm Matt. We do reviews like this, and I have been known to blow up the odd RC model. Well, Andy has, to be fair, and you've probably already seen that on your screen. So on that note, if that's something which tickles your fancy, don't forget to press the red subscribe button, and of course press the bell notification so that YouTube notifies when when the next video is out. It could be a review like this, or something like you saw a few moments ago. Anyway, from myself, Matt, thank you very much for taking the time to join me here at the workbench to look at $25 worth of screen. Happy days. For myself, Matt, cheerios!